HOS students, alumni, family, community, welcome to HOS vlog number 5. Yes, and I know I have not been vlogging on YouTube for a while, and it's just been so crazy busy. And if you're following me on social media, you'll probably know why, and we might have even met up at one of the events, masterclasses and meetups that have been happening. Now, today's vlog is about a topic that I am super passionate about. It is a rant, but it's a call out to the industry and the professionals in the industry. So I really hope you all take a few minutes and listen to my thoughts. And it's about community management, community managers, cannot even say it, community managers take pride. Okay, so I don't know what it is, but I've seen this for the past years of working here in the industry, that community managers all of a sudden are totally undervalued. And I think sometimes they're like totally invisible. Community managers, it seems like there is this assumption that they're just people that sit behind computers and nobody really understands what they do, but there's this assumption, or all community managers do is just, they're just replying to people. That's all they do. Anybody can do that. It's so easy. There is this massive undervalue into what a community manager's work does. People don't get it. People don't understand it. People don't even want to understand. The bottom line is community managers are seen as insignificant roles. They are not really taking part in key conversations that are happening in agency or client side when it comes to pitches, for example, or when it comes to client meetings about the actual brand itself and what's happening in social media. And then when it comes to the actual hiring of community managers, oh, anybody can be a community manager. Anybody can be a community manager. They just get hired, which is okay. Up until that point, I'm fine with that. The problem begins when they don't have any experience. They have no experience at all in social media, which again, I'm still okay with that. And I have hired, and if you're watching this, you know who you are, I have hired a lot of people that didn't have any experience. But my point is, if you're hiring someone to be a community manager that has no experience whatsoever, you then need to have guidance, to have training. And I don't see a lot of that happening. I see a lot of people being hired to do community management because, oh, it's super easy. It's just, it's just all about like, I don't even have my phone here. It's just all about like answering comments and just having like chatter online, and that's all it's about. So anybody can do that, and just speak English and Arabic, and that's fine. And people get hired and they don't get proper training. They don't get any training on the best tools to use or thought leadership people in the industry. There's no follow-up, there's no training, there's no guidance, there's no career growth, but ultimately there's no real understanding of the value of what a community manager is. And this is what I really want to talk about here. I really want to express how fundamentally important the role of a community manager is to your social media team. You don't understand? The community manager is the person that is at the forefront of everything that's happening in your social media. If they are a good, but like a really kick-ass good community manager, they should know the ins and out of your consumer audience, of your consumer segments, of the trends, of the growth, of the type of content that works the best. Every little comment that they read, that they receive, it's an insight. You want to talk about insights, and you want to talk about analytics, and you want to understand what drives your community, what content is going to work, what is the content plan for next month? Oh, we have a new campaign. Oh, we have a new product launch. What are we going to do? Does anybody go into the community manager and asks them, what are your insights? What do you have? The community managers are the sole most important piece to your social media team, and yet they are totally, constantly undervalued by almost anybody. So, every comment that they see is an insight. The ins and outs of how they deploy the content, how they publish the content, how they create the content, how they adapt the content from English to Arabic, all of that are creative insights that tells you so much about your community. It's kind of like a game. It's kind of like a football match, right? You are all sitting in the stands. They are playing it, and they know the strengths and the weaknesses of everything that's going around that community, even the competitors, even what other pages are doing. They will know, they should know, and this is obviously if they are doing their job really well, everything. So they will be your best people to guide you when you're strategizing, when you're thinking about a campaign, when you're thinking about a product launch, or when you're thinking about your content for the next month. So you need to hear them. You need to sit with them, and you need to bring them into the room, and you need to make them part of the conversation. Now, what I really wanted to also talk about, which is a different angle when it comes to community management, is if you are a community manager. Because I've seen this trend recently for the past couple of years here, especially in Dubai, is that all of a sudden it's not sexy and it's not cool to be a community manager. And I've been hearing this a lot. Oh, you know, I've been a community manager for a year. I want to be a social strategist. Or I have met people that were community managers for five months, 6 months, and all of a sudden they call themselves social media strategists. Do you know it's taken me 9 years and I'm still perfecting understanding social media strategy? You do not all of a sudden become a social media strategist after 5 months or 4 months of being a community manager, because suddenly there's this trend that it's not cool to say that I'm a community manager. So before you even think about becoming a social strategist, a social analyst, whatever it may be that you want in your career in social media, this is what I urge you. You need to become the best community manager in your team. You need to be so hot at every single thing that you do every day that you really can start stepping up your game to possibly starting to do work in strategy and understanding how social media strategy. You cannot jump from this step before taking this journey there. So if you are a community manager, I really urge you to take a real pride in being a community manager. And I'm gonna give some tips in just a minute or so. I'm looking at my post-its here because you guys know that I always like to give tips. So I wanted to give some really tangible tips for you guys. But before I go into my tips, if you are a community manager, take pride in being that community manager and be the best at it. Beat your colleagues every day, know more than they know at the community that you're running. Be better, know the best tools, know how to deploy faster, know how to engage better, know how to respond in a much cooler way. See what the other competitors are doing. So before you rush and want a more fancy title like, oh, social media strategist, or I don't know, social media analyst, or manager, or director, you need to be a really, 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 really good community manager, because you don't get to be a really good social media manager, director, strategist, analyst without first really learning how to do the groundwork of a community manager. And industry people take pride and really value community managers. They are the people that know the insights in and out. If they are really good, if they're doing their job really good, they should know the ins and outs of everything to do with your social community online. So, okay, now I know what you all want, which is tips. So here we go. Got my post-its here because I wrote them all down before starting. So I have a couple of tips, and here they are. If you are a community manager in the industry right now, this is my first tip for you. And if you are watching this and you worked with me in one of my teams, you will know this one. This is something that I actually wrote, and I would leave this stuck on my team's desks. And learn a new insight every day about the community that you're running. If every day you are not learning something new, at least one new insight about the community you're running, don't really know what you're doing as a community manager. And here's another challenge for you. I urge you to open an Excel sheet and every day just write in one new insight that you are learning. Either it's your Snapchat community, either it's your Facebook community, a Facebook group community, Instagram group, Twitter DMs, Twitter lists, whatever is that, LinkedIn groups, whatever is that community that you're running, I want you to write one insight for 31 days of the month. And then you know what you're gonna do? At the end of the month, when you have 31 amazing insights, you're gonna put that on your end of month report. And then, additionally to that, you're gonna send that Excel sheet with the 31 insights to your social media team and manager and director. Okay? Second, I want you to kick ass at community management. And what does that mean? It needs to be that when we do community management, we need to be fast, we need to be savvy, we need to know the best hacks into community management, which, you know what I'm gonna say? Tools. Tools really help us to do the job better, faster, and good quality. Either it's creative, video editing, image editing, or publishing, or scheduling, or rebuffering. There's tons of things. So my second tip to you is you need to be so savvy at the tools that you are using. I want you to be constantly testing new tools, trying new tools. Have you tried Buffer? Have you tried Hootsuite? Have you tried Later? Have you tried the different tools that you have for analytics? No, because you're just being lazy. You're going in and you're going out and you're just using the tools that you were given, or you might not even be using any tools and you're doing things manually. If you get so smart at the best tools that are out there, you will be doing your fast so much better and faster and much more effective. Okay, and the third one is, I want you to create a list. This is a really good one. I really want you to create a list of two things: top social media influencers for you to be reading and following and learning from every week. I don't care if it's podcasts, YouTube channels, guides, downloads, whatever. The second thing is, I want you to start curating lists of the best brands that you like that might be close to the category of the brands that you are managing on social media, so you can see how they're running it and what they're doing in terms of creativity, in terms of copy. Actually, going back to the first thing that I said, these social media influencers, check how they do their own social media, because they will give out a lot of tips and hacks. So that's a really good one. And you do know that on Instagram you can now create lists, right? So here we go, it's another tip. Okay, now if you want to become a community manager, here we go. I really only have two very good tips for you, but they're like awesome tips. The first one, if you want to become a community manager and you have absolutely no experience, you're gonna go and get some experience, and you're just gonna have to do it for free. So you are going to, in turn, go to someone that has a brand, that has a small, medium-sized business that needs help, and you say, hey, I will be your community manager for free for 6 months, 3 months, 4 months, 9 months, and you're gonna learn it. The only way for you to go and get that job and really get it is that you will then go to that job interview and say, yes, I have done it. I ran my best friend's account, my auntie's account, my mom's cupcake shop. I ran their social media accounts. I know how to schedule. I know which tools work best. I've worked with different tonalities, and here, and you can show them the proof of the work that you have been doing. When you've done execution, that gives you experience, that gives you knowledge, that shows that you've got know-how. Instead of a lot of the people that I meet and I interview that come to these interviews and have no experience. There is absolutely no excuse for you to not have experience. If you really want it, you go and you work for free for 6 months minimum, because in 3 months you're really not gonna learn anything. And you're gonna go and do and have that work experience for free, so that you can get into that interview and you can say, yes, I have experience. I might not have experience in the client side and agency side, but that's something that I will learn. But yes, I know tools, I know best practices, I know all of these key basic best practice things because I've been doing it. So to wrap up, this was my shout out to social media digital industry here, to really start valuing community managers and understanding that they are probably the ones that have most value. When I started moving away from doing community management and doing a lot more of the strategy and analysis, I had to be so close to my community managers, and I sat next to them, and I sat on my team next to them, and I brought them in because they are the eyes and ears to everything that's happening, because they're there, they're in the game, and they know. So if you are running a social media team, if you are working in an agency or client side and you are not valuing community managers, you need to start changing your mindset. If you are a community manager, you start stepping up your game. You can't start asking that you want to be a strategist or an analyst before you become really good at your job. If you already are amazing at your job, take pride of being a community manager and show them the value. Be proactive and don't wait for them to come to you. So this is my rant on community managers. I have a super dear love for community manager. I do community management. I still do community management for House of Social. You have to be in it. You can't just stop and then still say I know social media without really having some of your hands in it. So remember, every comment, everything that happens in your community, it's an insight into how those consumers are behaving, into what they want. So pay very close attention to everything that happens. Read the analytics, follow your instinct too. And yes, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I would love to hear your thoughts. Love, love, love. So if you can drop comments below, it would just make my day. If you really loved this video and this vlog, episode 5, then subscribe to my channel, because that just means that you guys are loving this content and I will do more. And see you on the next episode.